सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Repeat after me the fifth mantra. सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तो जायते सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तस्तिष्ठति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि लयमेष्यति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो निलो नलो नभः त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति. The entire universe comes forth from you alone. How does it come? The entire Purusha Suktam can be quoted here. From the cosmic primordial cause comes down the Ishvara. From the Ishvara, as the Ishvara plans to create, the planning, when it has come to a sort of completion, it's about to open up in creation. That is called Hiranyagarbha. Now, when I have to speak, you hear only the spoken word, but before that word has to be spoken out, I have to form the entire sequence of logic, the choicest words to be used. So, it is a very complicated process happening. As I am opening up and speaking, on the side, inside, there is a process of forming the next few sentences. So, those formative sentences, unspoken, yet to be spoken, ready to be spoken. I did not say three different things, three similar things. I said three different, almost subtle stages. All of this put together is called my Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb. Hiranya, golden, Garbha, womb. But it does not really deliver the same meaning as it should, as it gives in Sanskrit. So, from the unmanifest comes the first manifest Virata. Now, this Virata is the blueprint blueprint of everything that has to be created has been expressed, and that is called the totality. Then from that totality, the nascent 5 elements, pancha tanmatras, they go through a very scientific process of solidification, grossification, and that grossified 5 tanmatras are called pancha mahabhutas. With various combinations of permutations, these pancha mahabhutas come together, expressing the multitude of matter as if. That is why the Jagat is also known as Prapancha. What does Prapancha mean? Prakarshena prakatita pancha mahabhutayah. Prakarshena, this was not created from some kind of frustration. All the expression of creation is not out of frustration, not out of a mistake. It was thoroughly planned. That is the difference between Ishvara and Jiva. Only simple difference. A sequential disorder is called Jivatma and a sequential perfection is called Ishvara. What sequence are we talking about? We also have 3 Shaktis, Ishvara also has 3 Shaktis. What are the 3 Shaktis? To eat, sleep and procreate. No. The 3 Shaktis are Ichha, Jnana, Kriya. Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. So when the Ishvara has the first thought of creation, he meditates as in the form of Brahma for lots of years. As the result of that tapas, the know-how of building and creating this universe, expanding this universe, the blueprint is generated. So there is a lot of processing of jnana occurring, the know-how. After that jnana is ascertained, then comes the next step of jumping into action. So sequential order of perfection of these Shaktis is Ishvara and a sequential disorder of these Shaktis is Jiva. अपना क्या होता है? आप उनका गलती से मिस्टेक हो जाता है. We have Ichha Shakti. As soon as we have Ichha Shakti, it's almost like an eczema as an itch. So what do? We immediately jump into action and then realize, gain the knowledge after the action has been performed. Okay. If the sequential disorder was only in the first trial, it can still be excused. The next time the similar kind of effort is put, the itch is born and then we jump into action, then realize, अरे पिछली बार भी तो ऐसे ही हुआ था. Exactly the same way it happened last time also. And then we feel justified. I am at least regretting now. Big deal. What good is that regretful life which does not bring in a dent of change in our sequence of this expression? So that Ishvara expresses in the Virata, and the Virata comes, from the Virata comes the Panchatanmatras. The Panchatanmatras go through the grossification, and through the grossification the Prapancha, Prakarshena Prakatita Pancha Mahabhutayah. Prakarshena, out of bliss. Why out of bliss? Because there is a sequential order. There is no disorder there. And I think it was in the UN when Gurudev spoke, he started off with a beautiful statement, and that DVD is called, I think, Planet in Crisis. So there he starts off saying, this planet or this system is not a chaos, it is a cosmos. It has a systematic way of expressing that intelligence we recognize as God. Everything is in such a systematic order. Prakarshena, Prakatita, Vyakta, expressed. The permutations of 5 Mahabhutas. When all these 5 elements come together in different proportions, in different orders of proportions, then all this finitude, seeming finitude is created. Underlining in the red, seemingly finitude is generated. It only appears to be finite. So all these Pancha Mahabhutas, what are they? They are nothing but that Paramatma expressing in the most tangible format. So after this class, you can go home with a realized beam on your face. Have you seen Paramatma? So as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, you can also answer. Like the same way as I see you, I see Paramatma. Where? I see Paramatma expressing in earth, I see Paramatma expressing in water, I see Paramatma expressing in fire, I see Paramatma in the air, I see Paramatma in space. Did you understand? I see Paramatma also in that space. चमका नहीं किसी को. So if everything is nothing but Paramatma, that is why sometimes when I go to these universities and there's a multicultural platform, and one of the frequently asked questions, what you talk about Hinduism is so subtle and beautiful, then why is there such primitive form of worship? Why is it that you worship, you seem to be worshipping the natural forces out of fear? Why are you worshipping the stones? Why are you worshipping the trees? Why do you worship the mountains? It is not born out of primitivity that we worship these Pancha Mahabhutas or the various expressions of these Pancha Mahabhutas, but it is from the aspect that every expression is nothing but Paramatma alone. And to explain this one particular aspect, Bhagavan Krishna spends the entire 10th chapter of, or just before declaring chapter 11. Tenth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Vibhuti Yoga. What does Vibhuti Yoga mean? Vivida rupena bhavati shaknoti iti. the one who has the capacity to express in multitude. Hence, therefore, as many Hindus, that many paths customized for their individual spiritual evolution. And for a poor Westerner, it seems all confusing. One book, one day, one God, done. So, every Sunday, 9 o'clock to 9:45, the service begins. So, it has to be timed, your bhakti has to be timed. Exactly at 9 o'clock you should be bhakta avesha. 9:45, done. My boost for spirituality for 1 week is done. So, when they come with that mindset to see what kind of God system do you have? Some say polytheistic, some say monotheistic, some say both. And when they start digging in, how many number of gods do we have? How many number of deities do we have? Confused. How many number of forms of worship do we have? Millions. What are the different paths? Generically, we can say these are the different paths, but each one has their own carved out path towards that perfection. And it is not a confusion. This multitude is given by these rishis, these seers, as an act of compassion, as an act of sophistication. Now, when you go into the grocery stores, the first time, Dallas, do you have anything for people who come for the first time to US to take them around to? It's a flat piece of desert. Even if you drive down through the downtown area and then one spot you can say, this is where Kennedy was killed. Back in India, if somebody asks, where do you live? Do you know Kennedy? Okay, that place where he was killed, I live there. There is nothing else worth mentioning to recognize it with. Even to take somebody out. So I realized there are a couple of things that are interesting for the first time who come, who have not experienced. So for the initial beginning, I take them to car wash. Put them in the car and take them through the drive-through car wash. Whew. And luckily my car has a sunroof or moonroof, whatever you call it. I open that up and they see all that. Wow. First visit of interest, point of interest. Then take them to Walmart or Costco. Miles and miles of things around. And that too not in retailed shapes or sizes. Ekdam bad bad. So when you go to one of these grocery stores, let's pick one aisle. Toothpaste. How many different brands of companies produce toothpaste? And within each brand, how many varieties are produced? One for tartar, one for plaque, one for whitening, one for killing the germs, one kills 6 hours, one kills 12 hours, one kill, at least the claim is 18 hours. A different varieties there. Now what does this different varieties show? You go into the bread section, Baba re Baba. How many varieties are there? It is like this end of the aisle to that end of the aisle, there are different varieties and varieties. One says 3 grains, one says 3 whole grains, one says 5 grains, one says 7 grains, one says 10 grains. One says, leave all this, let's keep it simple. Pure, bland, white bread. As you have had it for years. And these are the routine. Then those which are not routine, there is artisan bread, there is that bread, there is this bread, variety. Imagine if there was no variety, this is what you get. Britannia. I grew up sometimes in Bangalore also. Whenever I think of bread, I am reminded of those Bangalore bakeries. Just when returning from the school, all these bakeries would be smelling such fresh bread. Usually they are those Iyengar bakery. Fresh loaf of bread. There also you get different varieties, Baba. So these many varieties are for catering to different mindset, different taste buds, different conditions, different utilities. I was telling in some other environment or platform, maybe in the first day itself, or I don't know when. Recently I came back from Bentonville. It's a 1 hour flight. It took me around 7.5, 8 hours. It got cancelled on the tarmac, and we were brought, luggage was not given, and we were, most of us coming to Dallas were routed through Chicago. Now I realize why Chicago airport is called O'Hare. It's a hair raising experience. I mean, if you have any hair raising experience left. So I had a nice time pass. And that lady who was there, I was trying to tell her this very concept. Because it is very difficult to understand and fathom, why do we have these many gods? I said, you have one government. I said, yes. Where is it? Washington DC. Do you mean to say that the government is only in Washington DC and not everywhere? No, no. Wherever is US, the line of demarcation that it is called US land, there it is US government. But then when I asked for it, you said it was in DC. Is it okay to say, is it okay to assume that the government is all pervading? Wherever there is US land, it is all powerful. And wherever you are at that point, can you not invoke the government's blessings? Say you need protection. What do? 911. And there comes the US government represented through the cops. You need justice. go to the court, and the court is the platform for providing justice, which is the government invoked. So, government can be invoked in various shades and types. And having these many various expressions, though all pervading, though it can be said that it is centered in Washington DC, it is everywhere, and it can be invoked in various offices in various capacities for seamless functioning of the government. Similarly, the Lord, similarly the Paramatma. As a creator, he expresses. As a sustainer, he expresses. As a remodifier, a remodeling agent, a recycling agent, he is Lord Shiva. The same Paramatma into the most tangible format is the basic 5 elements. Pancha Mahabhutaya. Tvam Bhumihi Apaha Analaha Anilaha Nabhaha. The Rishi has a good sense of Sanskrit poetry here. Nalo Nilo Nabhaha. Analaha. What does Anala mean? Fire. Anilaha. Air. Nabhaha. Nabhaha is space. Sky is in the space. It is space. So he is the one expressing in these. That is why there are great masters, when they interact even at this basic 5 elements, everything is worship worthy. Nothing is a waste. Nothing is useless. So the rishis made it a point. Tree is worship worthy. Animal worship worthy. Name a tree which is not worship worthy. Every tree is worship worthy. Of them there are certain which are the most sacred. Animals, we worship every animal. Name an animal, and I will have a legend of one of the other Purana talking about that animal as to how it is the expression of one avatara or the other. Dog, Kala Bhairava. Dattatreya had 4 dogs, remember? I can go on. Snake, Sheshanaga. Eagle, Garuda. Different animals. Cow, the most holiest, and only Hindus have the right to say it. Holy cow. So animals, plants, birds, different forms of expression, they are all worship worthy. Mountains are worship worthy, the moon, the stars, the sun, the rivers, everything is worship worthy. Why? Tvam eva, you are the one expressing as Bhumihi, Apaha, Analaha, Anilaha, Nabhaha. Tvam Chatvariva Akpadani. And this is glorified in and through all the Vedic mantras. Because most of the shlokas, most of the mantras are written in the chanda of Anushtup chandas, and they are in 4 quarters. Chatvari Vaak Padani. So, the Vedas are also known as Chatvari Vakpadani, or the different scriptures from the Vedas to the recent most Karana Granthas. All these are nothing but stuti of this very fact alone. Chatvari Vakpadani. There is another meaning of Chatvari Vakpadani. What does a Chatvari Vakpadani mean? If you have gone through Lalita Sahasranama, there she is expressed Vag, Vaikhari. So, the expression of a hymn, expression of a praise for that Almighty is the most gross form, is when you chant it out loud. That is the Vak. Vag, Vaikhari, Pashyanti, Para. These are the 4. Vaikhari, Vaikhari, just as a whisper that you keep, constantly mumbling about. When you see something great, sometimes you really jump out and say, wow! And sometimes, oh my God. It was like a whisper to yourself. And that oh my God whisper is subtler than, actually the experience, the impact is subtler than, or the greater than the ones where you could jump out saying wow. Vag, Vaikhari. Pashyanti. Pashyanti is a seamless, automated, continuous remembrance of the glory of the Lord, constantly, consciously being repeated whenever you are awake. Para. Para is that stuti wherein there is no more effort put in. Every particle is shouting out loud, throbbing out loud with the stuti of the Lord alone. There were masters that have been recorded that any limb of theirs that you touch, you start hearing the mantra. One such documented one, his bhajans and kritis are sung by many classical Carnatic music singers. Sadashiva Brahmendra Saraswati. He was so immersed in God that his hand was cut. He did not stop, he went along. And it was one of those Nizam kings, the Muslim king, because he did not salute the king. So he said, cut his hand off. So the king was surprised that he did not even flinch for even a second. He just continued walking. So he picked that hand, and then when he picked, his whole body started experiencing the nama. As if that the hand was chanting the nama. He ran up to him and said, "Bhaiya, I cut your hand." "Oh, thank you." And he continued walking. He put his bag, a limb connected, and then he went off. Once it was recorded that he was sleeping somewhere, and it was right in the middle of the path on a bed of a river. Somebody passerby who was supposed to be a great renowned scholar, had a great ahankara of being a scholar. So he said, old man, move aside. I said, I have not had food for a while, and I am just sleeping, taking rest. It's been a while that I have taken rest. If you don't mind, just move my legs this side. I said, why should I touch your legs? Okay, move my head this side. So he tried picking his head, and the entire body suddenly started experiencing the Nama. The next day he came to meet the place where he sat or slept. Not finding him, he sits there, and his body automatically starts chanting. The vibration of that Mahatma left on that place. Para. Effortlessly happening. O Lord, I may not be at the stage of para to do your stuti. Let me start with Vak. Let me start singing your glories. And like Purandaradasa says, to sing your glories. Earlier, I was ashamed of it. What is this, all unnecessary things. Now, the exact words is Lajja Bittu. Lajja Bittu means abandoning all kinds of shame and shy. I don't mind dancing and singing the glories of your name again and again. And even in and through all these 4 different ways of expression of that mantra is also nothing but the avatar of that Lord on our tongue. When we chant the name Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Namah Shivaya, Shri Rama, whenever these names are chanted, the Lord is taking avatara on our jihva, on our tongue. And some masters have called it as the jihva avatara. Every time that we are chanting, it is the expression of the Lord alone. Tvam chatvari va akpadani. You are constantly praised in and through the entire scriptures, from the Vedas to the Prakarana Granthas. You are the expression of mantra in 4 different impacts or 4 different levels of utterance. Whichever format uttered, it is your name, your glory, your expression in that form. And that is why our rishis have made it a point that when the Namakarana is done, the Namakarana is done with an apt name of God. And nowadays we need names which are so peculiar, literally fancy that. Fanciful names which don't mean anything. Fancy names also can be understood. If you dig in deeper, somewhere some meaning you will find to justify. Sometimes I have one surprising name that I have come across is Timir. So I asked the parents, I said, why in heaven would you name your child as Timir? Now we understand, Swamiji, that the meaning is darkness, ignorance and denseness. But then we thought it had a good rhyme to it. So we named him as Timir. So we all started calling him as Tejasvi. He was really a brilliant kid. He is actually, not was. He is really a brilliant kid. Timir. And then we have names. Can the Americans pronounce French properly? What is the beauty of French? French people are extremely hungry people. They eat away half of the word. They write one thing, pronounce something else altogether. The Scandinavian names, the Russian names, Voskowski. These people are able to pronounce. Our names also they will be able to pronounce, provided we have the patience to tell them, teach them, correct them and stand by. Our own Indians, they come and say, Swamiji, your name has become too long. Swami Sarveshananda. Can we call you Swami? Yes. I say, hell no. Swami, yes. Either call me Swami Sarveshananda or Swami. And no Swami yes business. Because we give them the opportunity to cut it short. Samyukta becomes Sammy. Narayana becomes Nick. Krishna becomes Chris. This is in the conveniences in the outside world. Within the family, Gayatri. What does Gayatri become? Gai, bhais, bakra, bhed. AJ, because they cannot pronounce A, they can pronounce A. We call it Abraham, they call it Abraham. That's the difference. But if you teach them, they'll be able to tell it. Because these names have been given in such a way that inadvertently, effortlessly, when you constantly keep taking their names, the name of the Lord is rolling on our tongues always. Don't go for the sophistication. So somebody says, Swamiji, we need some new name. So it should start with B, a new name. So I had just come from some class chanting Lalita Sahasranam, Bhandodari. It has a very sacred meaning. So Swamiji, Bhandodari, Bhandodari. Cute little. And sometimes we don't even understand what name we are picking because we are breaking it in the wrong place and use half of earlier name, half of the later name and mix some. And where did you get this name? Oh, Vishnu Sahasranam. नया विष्णु सहस्रनाम निकला क्या? न्यू एडिशन? See, these names, the purpose is that we chant these names, repeat these names, and God makes it very, very easy. He gives us children who never listen to us. So you're constantly repeating their names. Narayana, Rama. How many times did you? Ram, wake up. Ram, eat. Ram, sleep. Ram, this. Ram, that. Constantly you are chanting. Because that is the Jihva avatara of the name of the Lord in the most subtle format. Tvam chatvari va akpadani. Moving forward in the sixth mantra, he says, Tvam gunatrayatitaha, Tvam avasthatrayatitaha, Tvam dehatrayatitaha, Tvam kalatrayatitaha, Tvam mooladharasthitosi nityam, Tvam shaktitrayatmakaha, Tvam yogino dhyayanti nityam, Tvam brahma tvam. Okay, let's do it one at a time. Tvam brahma, Tvam vishnustvam, rudrastvam, indrastvam, agnistvam, vayustvam, suryastvam, Chandramastvam, Brahma bhurbhuvasvarom. Tvam gunatrayatitaha. You are beyond three gunas. This Swamiji that I went to meet in California, he is not from Chinmaya Mission, but I had known him, so I went to meet him. And I went there, his devotees said, oh, you came to meet Swami B? Because I knew him as something else. His name was Gunatitananda, and he is now being called Swami B. I didn't get it. So I went to him and Swamiji, Majra kya hai? When did you become Swami B? So he said, oh, that is a sad story. He said, when I came here, they asked me what does my name mean. So I explained that I am beyond all these three gunas, and that is the Ananda. So they caught on to beyond and Ananda, they started calling me Beyond Ananda, which is exactly the opposite meaning of what his name meant. So he bargained. He said, okay, don't call me that. If it is easy for you, call me B, Swami B. Gunatrayatitaha. There are three gunas: Sattva, rajas and tamas. When these three gunas are not in control, not in balance, then the sequence of priority or subtlety is the grossest is tamas, subtler than gross is rajas, and the subtlest of them all is sattva. This is when we do not have control over our three gunas and it is not in proper balance, then this is the priority of subtlety. But once you gain mastery over these three gunas, what is the mastery of over these three gunas? Expressing the guna which is required for fulfilling that particular situation's responsibility. Sometimes in fulfilling a certain responsibility you require tamas. There is an unavoidable circumstances wherein somebody is constantly nagging and criticizing, unavoidable, inevitable, you have to go through it. Best thing, sleep, withdraw. The best is if you can learn the art of sleeping with your eyes open with a smile on the face. I had gone into the ashram directly from the college, and it was morning 5:30 to evening 10:30, 9:30. One after the other class, one after the other satsang, one after the other subjects. First 1 week we were enthusiastic, this is all brahmacharis, okay, inside jokes. 1 week all that initial enthusiasm wears out. The most terrible, troublesome class was after lunch around 3:30. इतना नींद आता था, घमासान. Do whatever, drink tea, wash your face, take shower, you get better sleep. Did a lot of tricks, nothing worked. Then finally, after 2 months of trials, couple of us, even in the ashram I was backbencher, last. So sitting there we developed a skill. We had a lectern like this and we had our books inside. So we would open the book and have a pen in the hand, look at the direction of our Swamiji sitting there, understood the body language a little bit by then. When you are keenly listening, there is one side you bend. Observe yourself. So bend our heads a little bit, still looking straight, smile, eyes open, take off. Two days later we were caught. It also didn't work. But after the 3rd month we regained a little balance in our system. That environment where it requires to pump in sattvic guna, we should be able to pump that sattvic guna out. At that moment when we have to have tamasic guna, when do we need tamasic guna? Whenever we have to withdraw, especially in sleep. On those afternoons, especially on the weekend, after a heavy brunch, because breakfast woke up late, I was hungry, so have a heavy brunch by 10:30, 11, And then, it was o'clock. The idea was we take a quick cat nap. And then, after the quick cat nap, wake up at 4:30. Groggy. The chai pilao. And it is at that time we have Balavihar. So in the afternoon sessions when I come say Hari Om, Hari Om, dazed out. Children are more alert. I am talking to the parents. Gunatrayatitaha. Transcending the three gunas does not mean abandoning the gunas, but mastering them in such a way that I apply whatever guna required in fulfilling that responsibility which meets that situation. That is called going beyond the influence of gunas. Whenever we are planning, whenever we are thinking ideals, directions, goals, visions, when we have to grasp everything, at that time it has to be sattvic. Once the planning and grasping is all done and you have to put it into action, rajasic nature has to come out. And even while executing it, we should know when to withdraw, when our responsibility is done. Actually, the entire environment will be screaming at us, enough, go now. No, we don't know when to withdraw. I think it was in the Sunday Balavihar time, Bhagavad Gita, I said, we have ASAS, Ambassador Syndrome and Abhimanyu Syndrome. I think it was in the Sunday. You know, we have the indigenously Indian made car, Ambassador. What was the problem with it? Shuru hi nahi hota tha. It never used to start. You put the key in and then so you request 4 or 5 of them, please. And then you take to the right spot and from there push. Then put it in the gear and then give it a jump start. For many of us, if we know the art of sleeping and wake up right, before extending it into the deep layers of unnecessary dreaming period, which drains our energy, wake up before that, we wake up fresh. Otherwise, we wake up and we need a jump start like the Ambassador car. Oh, I can't start my day without a coffee, you know. I can't start my day without tea. And that day when there is no tea or coffee, you should look at their face. Chai chahiye? Ah, please. I've been missing it right since morning. Jump start. Otherwise, that guy ne kya bolte usko? Bull, Red Bull, or the 5 hour. They give you a spike. After the spike, it totally drain you off. But we need that spike. Because not just the mind is shouting, even the people are, I need my caffeine. I need my caffeine now. Immediately I need it. Or else what will happen? Headache. Ambassador syndrome. We can't jumpstart our Then Abhimanyu said, once jump starting, getting into the action, we don't know how to withdraw, or where to withdraw, or when to withdraw. When we have to withdraw, tamasic has to be influenced, and you withdraw completely. Done. Aaj ka dukaan band. We should be able to withdraw that efficiently. Still hanging on to the old things, still the files are open, constantly processing happening. And then you are on the bed like a dosa. You know why it is called dosa? You put it on the pan. Ask any Tamilian, dosa dana chaluanga. So you put it first time on the pan, hot sizzling pan. Sound comes. Then you again dosai. Do means twice. Sai, that sound comes. That is why it is called dosa. And that is what we are doing, flipping on the bed here and there constantly. Cannot invoke that tamasic nature. As much as invoking tamasic nature is difficult, withdrawing from tamasic nature is also difficult. Why? None of the gunas are placed right. And we dance according to the tunes of these gunas. And it reflects as, I don't feel like it. It is not a question of what you feel. Is it something that is necessary to be fulfilled? Buckle up, get up, do it. I'm not in a mood for it. They are as pathetic as children. The children also say, study. Mood nahi hai mummy. Mood dilaun? Whenever we feel irresponsible because of the moods, the only solution, कोई देने वाला होना चाहिए. Somebody to whack our brain straight. And the art is to know which guna to apply when. Tvam gunatrayatitaha. And you are constantly above, beyond the impacts of three gunas. The world of matter is in three gunas. Transcend the matter, it is all divine. Those which are embedded still in that matter of three gunas, we have the dichotomy of good and bad, positive and negative. Paramatma is neither good nor bad. He is eternally divine. O Lord, Tvam gunatrayatitaha, Tvam avasthatrayatitaha. You are that consciousness because of which there is a waking, dream and deep sleep. But you are neither waking nor dream nor deep sleep. A beautiful example, classic example, King Janaka. I mean, what to talk of him, I tell you. His entire court of ministers were realized masters. Can you imagine the kingdom? बैठा हुआ है in the parliament, all nut jobs, nut cases. Still the country is doing good, it is not because of them, it is in spite of them. Imagine a country, imagine a kingdom which is run by all realized masters. Right from the king to the last minister, the youngest one added in, everybody was. So suddenly the king woke up in the middle of the night. And he was pretty shattered, shaken up. So he called his guards and said, call all my ministers. Maharaj, it is 2:30 in the morning. Go call. Emergency meeting. So they all suddenly, took shower. Raja ne bulaya, it is emergency. They came running. And then he looks at everybody and says, something that happened which shattered me. I just woke up from a bad dream. And they knew that the king was not an ordinary person. Raja, sleep it off. It was just a dream. Why did you have to wake us all up if you had a bad dream? Lori suna do kya? They took him seriously. They said, okay, what was the dream? What was the... He said, what shattered me was, I was famished for almost 3-4 days. I was a beggar, begging for food in my dream, and nobody gave food, and almost 3-4 days I was famished, I was hungry. Suddenly I lost my balance, I could not, because of the cramps and the pain, I fell down off my bed and I woke up. Now my question is, am I the king who dreamt of that beggar and his pain of hunger, or am I the dream of the beggar? Asking you this question. Which one is real? The hungry beggar who is woken up as this king? This can be titled as Hunger Games. Which one of it is true, the hungry beggar or this king who is asking you this question? Everybody went into a deep thought. Then the youngest of his court members, he was the young, brilliant Ashtavakra. So that Ashtavakra speaks. The crux of that, the text is recognized as Ashtavakra Gita, but the crux of it is, he says, neither the king is real nor the beggar is real. Why? Those are the functional states of mind. One is a waking stage, the other one is a dream stage. O king, you are neither a king nor a beggar. You are that which is illumining the mind's becoming of a beggar or a king. Very deep thought. If you ask Gaudapadacharya, he refuses to say there are 3 states of consciousness. He says only dvi avastha, active mind and an absent mind, not absent mindedness. That phase wherein there is no mind actively functioning. He clubs both the dream and the waking into one. He says this and that, not much of a difference. One is internal confusion, the other one is external confusion. Waking world is called the external confusion, the dream world is the internal confusion. Both phases the mind is active. The one phase where the mind is not active is the deep sleep. And that which is illumining waking, dream and the deep sleep. When we sleep, sound sleep and wake up. How do we know that we slept? At that moment when we are sleeping, we don't know that we are sleeping, right? Even though I am shouting loud, you will be continuing. So, how do we know that I just slept? Because when I wake up, the entire experience of my deep sleep is illumined as a memory. Isn't it? When you wake up, I had good sleep. The goodness of the sleep, how do you recollect it? If it was not a part of the memory, something has to illumine that part of the memory where the mind was not actively involved or the mind was completely withdrawn. That state where the mind reaches to its nascent form, completely withdrawn. Some masters use the word of reaching the subconscious levels. You should read Aurobindo's literature. It will completely throw you off. He says supraconscious, conscious, subconscious, unconscious. If I am never conscious, that's what I am adding, okay. So, that subconscious level it reaches, where it is not doing anything. But then it comes back to wield its own field internally, that is called dream, and then it opens its web out into the world of plurality, that is called waking. That conscious principle which is illumining both, all the three, waking, dream and the deep sleep, that consciousness you are. That principle of life which is illumining all this is your state or your existence. Tvam avasthatrayatitaha, tvam dehatrayatitaha. Did you know that we have three bodies? Dehatraya, the gross, the subtle and the causal. The entire Vivek Chudamani is put in one mantra. Tvam dehatrayatitaha. So, the entire process of neti neti, na iti, because we don't know what is the texture of experience of consciousness. That which is already known is being negated. Gross body we understand. This gross body is something which is born out of food, sustained by food, becomes a healthy packaging of food for something else. Isn't it? Whether we bury or burn, B to B. Either buried or burnt. Either ways, we become good package of manure. So, that is why our ancient people, they said all these ashes have to be merged into the live rivers, perennial rivers, because these perennial rivers constantly feed into the farms enriched by this carbon. It is the best fertilizing agent. We have already become a part of the food cycle. Born of food, sustained by food, becomes a different format of food for something else to survive on. And it goes through 6 stages of modification. Asti, conceived; jayate, born; vardhate, exponentially grows. Every month and a half, 2 months once you have to change their, right from their diaper size. Everything has to be changed. My dad used to be really annoyed because I came to an age wherein I became of his height. All his good shirts, good clothes, I just let it go away. As he felt a relief of gladness that I outgrew, my brother caught up. Those 4 years were very frustrating for him, I guess. Vardhate, we grow. And then we have some changes. A boy becomes a man, a girl becomes a woman. There are changes. Viparinamate. And then for a certain period, we try to maintain that youthful phase. The first indicator becomes the highlight. The first few strands that come out, I tell you, even before the strands come out, that painful day when we were called, until then we were called as, bhaiya, Anna. Suddenly one day, uncle. It doesn't digest. Uncle? Already uncle? Kaun re uncle? See, in the Indian community, as long as you are not married, you are Didi and Bhaiya. The moment you get married, you are uncle and auntie. I have seen many times people trying to correct the children. Don't call me uncle, okay? Call me Bhaiya. I overhear that. Doodh wala ki post wala. In Bombay, those who come to deliver milk, they are also called bhaiyas. Now the postman is also called a bhaiya. It is very unbearable. So I thought. Recently back in India, I was traveling in a bus. This lady steps in. And in India nowadays they have sleeper buses. So I was in the upper berth sleeping, and this lady comes as a child, and I was the only one there. So she looks at me and she says, Dadaji? For a moment I did not respond. Not that I was in a shock or anything, but nobody had addressed me that way so far. The exact word, Tatagaru, can you hold my child? I had to, get the luggage in. I said, I don't mind. I kept the child. And then the child, grew familiar with that little darkness and saw that all orange. Got scared. Started screaming. And the mother comes and says, thank you, Dadaji. I said, okay. First time. So the body goes through these. And there comes a stage wherein everything starts failing. Seeing, hearing with these people who is very strange. That which you don't want them to hear, tak pakad lete hain. I know what you said. You are supposed to not be hearing. I thought you couldn't hear. That they can hear. And you call out their name, shout. क्या बोल रहे थे? Oh, you called me. I couldn't hear, sorry. And the best part is that age wherein they become very musical. Every limb as it moves makes sounds. And the old doors, don't laugh, we'll all be there soon. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be that direct, He said we are already there. I didn't want to hit it that direct. There are some who may not appreciate it, So when you sit and stand, for a long time, and whenever I saw an elderly person, I would say, please sit. They would refuse to sit. So समझ में नहीं आता था. Why are they refusing? Later I understood. It is better to be standing than putting an effort to sit and then stand. बैठना मुश्किल है, खड़ा होना मुश्किल है. Sitting is a problem, getting up is a problem. Every limb, you move the arm, move the limb, everything starts feeling. And comes the age wherein you start replacing one after the other. Knee, hip, shoulder, pacemaker, anything else you, That's the best part of life. I was at somebody's house and I overheard this. I didn't mean to, I didn't intend to, I overheard it. So they were elderly couple and I visualized. Probably the wife was still sleeping and she shouts. The husband was the one who wake up early in the morning, do his, the puja part and other things. So he must have been taking shower. So the wife says, honey, can you please brush my teeth and bring them for me? Oh, that day I laughed and laughed and laughed so loud. Because the next sentence was, today it is not my turn. Sthula Sharira requires certain maintenance. 3 times food, certain exercise to maintain it in shape, oiling and greasing for a while. Chalti ka naam gaadi, keep it moving. Don't get attached to any sophistications in trying to pamper it. Sthula Sharira. The next one, the field of emotions and ideas. All of them are nothing but thoughts. But we have this vague knack that as soon as there is a emotion, we think it is justified to go identify with it. गले मिलके नाच लेते हैं. So whatever is the thought visiting, whatever is the thought content, we become that content. Good thought comes, we become good. Bad thought comes, we become bad. Glad thought comes, we become glad. Sad thought comes, we become sad. After all, these are thoughts. Why give so much of importance to those thoughts? Is it necessary to express them? Before expressing them, validate them. If necessary, use them in expression, or else let them pass by. Swamiji, I have got such terrible thoughts, कचरा कचरा भरा हुआ है, दिखता है. Obviously visible. Just because it is kachra all flowing, why should you go jump into it? Do you find it sane? Do you find it proper that somebody who finds a drainage, every time they find a drainage, what happened? Drainage dikha. I found a drainage, so I had to fall in it. Do you ever do that? See dirty waters and then go. Now, when you are a child, as soon as you see a puddle, what does the child do? As a child, it is okay. Because for them there is no distinction between pure water and dirty water. Even if it is their own urine. Even they have seen your own children do that, right? And they say, no. And even after growing up, internally there is some kachda going on. Let it go. No, we feel that, bechara, it is going. I have to go fall in it. Why? Whatever be the thought and its content, if it is necessary, if it is required to express, use it to express, otherwise let it flow. No, Swamiji, how can there be such kachra? Have you seen the first round of your laundry? When you throw it in the dish, not dish, what do you call that? Washing machine. It is dirty black. But that layer has to go, let it go. Just because the first layer of water is dirty, do you stop washing clothes? Please don't do that. That is the way to clean, let it be. By identifying with it, we become what that content is being carried. Don't identify, step back, watch. Sthula, Sukshma, and then the final one is called Karana Sharira, the causal one. That causal state is the answer for a classic self-unfoldment study group question, because Gurudev goes through that cause and effect, and then he links it with the karma and vasana. Then every sane, intelligent student in a study group comes with this final question. The first creation, when this first time this jiva appeared, whether it was karma or was it vasana, which prompted what? They think that they have caught the entire Vedantic philosophy by their throat. Now that grip is so strong. Ab batao. Tell now. You cannot escape with this logic now. Both of them are effects of what? Effect of self-ignorance. That ignorance which is the root cause for everything, that is the most subtlest one. That is called Karana Sharira. They said, Tvam Dehatrayatitaha. You are beyond these three dehas. These three dehas have these different modifications, and we can recognize those modifications in the presence of that life force, in the presence of the illumination of that life force. Tvam Dehatrayatitaha. Tvam Kalatrayatitaha. You are beyond past, present, future. Because past, present, future is just a mere point of reference. In fact, there is no past, no present, no future. I am not making it up. Supposing you stand on the building, I stand down. You can see the end of the road on either sides. Whatever be the traffic on the end of the roads in the entire road, for you it is still in the present moment. For me, at that level, whatever I can perceive, that is in the present moment. Whatever you can see, that is either in the past or is in the future. So past, present, future is just point of reference. Think about it. If time is a point of reference, space is equally a point of reference. Time is calculated in terms of space travelled, space is calculated in terms of time taken. They are interchangeable, they are the different sides of the same coin. Tvam Kalatrayatitaha. Then what are you? That we will see tomorrow. Tomorrow don't miss it, because a very important practical abhyasa of upasana comes into picture. That we will extensively study upon. I already see a couple of disappointed faces, I can't help. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.